Hi everybody, welcome back with Paola Andrea Rodriguez. I am your Latina sex therapist here in our beautiful city of Miami. Guys, so today we're gonna talk about fantasies. You know, do you share your fantasies with your partner? What are fantasies all about? So guys, let's think a little bit about fantasies. So fantasies elicit desire. Desire is all about the imagination. And when it comes to fantasies, it doesn't necessarily mean that what you fantasize about is the sex that you wanna have. I know a lot of heterosexual women that watch girl-on-girl porn and they have no desire in engaging in a sexual or intimate relationship with a woman, but there's something about that scene that turns them on. When we think about fantasies, we want to think that they are divided in three genres, right? We have novelty. This is doing things that are out of the ordinary or in places that you've never had sex before. A common one would be having sex in the office, having sex in the car, or having sex in public. Then we think about group sex. That's the second one. Threesomes is a very popular one. And I want to help you understand that there's often a psychological component to it. When you think about threesomes or group sex, it is about being desired by more than one person. And really interesting, so one of the most searched topics on Pornhub, I think that everybody knows Pornhub, was MILF, stepmom, or mom. I wonder, does that surprise you? And when I've worked with guys that have been into the fantasy of stepmom, MILF, or mom, there's also an emotional component, but not always. Some of these men have either grown up with a very emotionally distant mom or very emotionally unavailable. So this fantasy not only caters to their sexual desires, but it is someone who's a little bit more experienced that not only gives them sexual pleasure, but also guides them in a very emotional way. The third one would be power play, right? So this is anything that's kinky or BDSM. And when we think about BDSM, bondage, discipline, sadism, and masochism. But don't get scared, because I think those words, people are like, oh, what does that mean? So guys, I brought some stuff for show and tell. So this is called a flog, right? You guys, I was introduced to a vlog. So they have a festival here in Miami called Exotica, and I really encourage everybody to go because they have what we call dungeons. Dungeons are places where you can try different things. Don't be afraid to try and see what you like. And so there was a dominant there, and I was a little bit curious because I have a curious mind. And you know, he introduced me to the flogging, and it's almost like I don't know, it's like a choreography. So my pain as he was flogging me, 10 pain, 10 super painful, 0 none, it was about a 3. So you guys, I want you to be really mindful that it's not always about pain, but it's a different sensation, right? What else do we have here? We have bondage, right? So this would be for bondage play. And it's all about having a dominant and a submissive, right? There are people that get really turned on by not having control. Some people that are in control all day, every day, right? We often hear that people that are CEOs or are constantly in their mind, this kind of gets you out of your head. And what's really interesting, you guys, so not too long ago, I went to a bar here in Miami, and they had a couple of live bands, and in one setting, they were doing a mosh pit. And I thought, this is interesting. So I kind of pulled back and I was just observing because I'm an observer by nature. And one of the things that I saw is that, you know, I see these guys kind of charging at each other. However, I saw this guy fall on the ground, he tripped and fell, and the other guy quickly stopped and pulled them up. So I want you guys to be really mindful that in this context of using kink or BDSM, it is always consensual. There is often a safe word that if you're experiencing something that you do not like, all you have to do is say that safe word and everything will stop completely. What else do we got, guys? So we have a gag, right? So this keeps you, it will go over in your mouth, and it is important to see, you know, which ones are comfortable, right? And it is, again, to play with the submissive dominant dynamic. It keeps the person from talking. It mimics that helplessness, but again, in a very consensual scene. One of the most commonly used are blindfolds and handcuffs. And these are really interesting because this come in 4. And this is for your arms. and there's also your legs. So with these, you can tie them around your arm, and then you can tie them to a bed, you can tie them to whatever, you know, and it's again a way for you to feel the dominant and the submissive role. Blindfolds, you guys, when I encourage my couples, I'm like, do something different. People often think, oh my God, chains and leather. No, this is not what I'm talking about, but anything that changes the dynamic. If you've ever put on blindfolds, all of a sudden, all of your other senses are heightened. And touch feels a little bit more sensual. And if they're talking in your ear, you're listening more to that voice. And also thinking, what turns you on? I know that I'm a very, sound for me is arousing or intriguing. So knowing, if you can think of your senses, which of your senses, right, are the most erotic or sensual for you? So handcuffs and blindfolds are one that we use very often. And this one, right, some people, we use it for puppy play when we think about a collar. Some dominants, either they have their submissive earn the collar, or by being collared is something along the lines of, now you're my submissive and I get to tell you what to do. So it is important to understand that when there is any type of scene, guys, not only is there pre-play, which means, you know, how do we get you ready for the scene? There's a consensual agreement. There is a safe word. You know, the person understands, you know, they're really observing, is this flogging too much? Am I hurting this person? Are they enjoying this? And then there is post-care, which is you sit with your submissive, you process the scene, and you get your mind out of where you were and into a more present state. Okay, another example, guys, of how there is an emotional component to fantasies. For example, cuckolding. For those of you who don't know, this is someone who gets sexually aroused by watching their partner, their wife, their lover having sex with someone else, but they are part of the scene, and again, it is all consensual, right? Some of the guys that I work with have grown up feeling very jealous, right? They've had maybe experiences when they were growing up, and this is a way that they work through their jealousy feelings in a very consensual and controlled way. Same thing with BDSM, being tied up. You know, one of the most common fantasies for men is feet, or the fetishes, and one of the most common fantasies for women is rape scenes, right? In no shape or form does it mean that this person wants to be raped, because again, it is controlled and consensual. And the other thing to have in mind, guys, that when it comes to fantasy, some people, it's a must. I need to have this fantasy in order to get off. For some people, it's preferred. I like it here and there. For some people, it's part of their repertoire. It's one thing that is in all the list of the kinky things that I like, right? Or it's on special occasions, and it's part of, you know, special days that maybe I like to do this fantasy. And for some people, not at all. So guys, explore, be curious, be playful, you know, and in my social media, I will definitely post the next time that Exotic is here, because I just think it's such a great way to explore sensuality and the things that you like and the things that you don't. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon.